Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. This bulletin is coming to you live from our studios here at Kokomlem Lane, Accra, on digital address GA 0993341 on Joy 99.7 FM. Is also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by UMB Bank, UMB Speed Up, Digibank, Let's Go, Telesol 4G, Proudly Ghanaian, Telesol, Just a Touch, and Mark Auto Parts Ghana, distributors of Isuzu and Chevy cars. Mark Auto Parts Ghana with you for the long run. Coming up, more revelations in Finance Minister 2019 budget as government hints of providing seed money for construction of National Cathedral, an apparent contradiction to earlier claims on funding for the much criticized project.
As the president mentioned, the state will not build a cathedral.
The state is facilitating this process by providing the land, the secretariat, and some seed money for the preparatory phase.
We have details also. Government says depositors of the ADB and NIB will not be affected in any way by decision to merge or set up a completely new development bank.
On behalf of government, that we have no plan to do anything to these two banks that would impact adversely depositors or people doing business with these banks. And if you have deposits there, keep them there.
We have more as Deputy Finance Minister justifies government's $50 billion century bond. Also, KNUST announces new changes to academic work and security following shutdown prompted by destructive demonstration.
The outstanding lectures and the mid-semester exams that were supposed to have taken place during the time of the crisis would be taken concurrently.
Also in sports.
It's less than 24 hours to the start of the Women's Africa Cup of Nations, and we go to the camp of the Black Stars, where head coach, the Black Queens, I beg your pardon, where head coach Bashir Hayford is talking ahead of the Black Queens tournament opener against Algeria.
And we'll talk some more sports when we ask whether sporting activities make birth and menstruation less painful. We'll hear more on this theory in the latest Joy News documentary as the Africa Women's Cup of Nations kicks off tomorrow.
I think for other sports girls too, it happens to them that way because it makes your system so active and strong.
We have all that and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apau. And controversy over the construction of the much criticized National Cathedral is set to deepen as government provides more details on funding for the much criticized project. Earlier, government had said the construction of the edifice to be built in the Prime Ridge area here in Accra would not be done with the taxpayers' money. Well, it appears government will now go beyond its earlier stated position of providing only the land needed. There's more in the following report.
A member of the Board of Trustees of the National Cathedral, Reverend Opuni Frimpong, stated what he said was the president's position on funding for the project. President Akufo-Addo later addressed the issue, making no mention of money from the state.
The challenge of building Ghana's National Cathedral, therefore, relates to the mobilization of our people in support of the project. The broad representation of the Ghanaian Christian community at this event shows the emergence of a national coalition that will arise and build the cathedral to the glory of God.
But Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta announced yesterday government will now contribute what he describes as seed money for the construction of the National Cathedral.
The state is facilitating this process by providing the land, the secretariat, and some seed money for the preparatory phase.
And there were other revelations in the budget. Government's new resolve to fight corruption after several complaints about how his office was under-resourced and unable to run. Special Prosecutor Martin Amidu is set to receive 180 million cedis in 2019 to do his work.
In line with government's promise to protect the public purse, His Excellency the President remains committed to the fight against corruption. The Special Prosecutor's Office, which is established under the Office of the Special Prosecutor Act 201-2017, Act 959, is one of the highest priorities of government. In this budget, the Special Prosecutor's Office has been allocated an amount of 180 million from GOG of a commitment to provide additional resources during the course of 2019 to enable the Special Prosecutor's Office to carry out this mandate.
On taxation, a tax identification number will now be a precondition to having any access to social services.
Government will broaden the tax net by simplifying payment of taxes through different routes under the guidance of GRA, including the elimination of paying for government services with cash, requiring that citizens should attend before accessing social services like free health care, free secondary school education, and beginning in September of this year, as well as mobile money services.
We've definitely been trying to get government's reaction to some of the issues, especially that on the seed fund for the National Cathedral. But we'll bring them to you as and when we have them. But one issue the government has been providing details about is this other controversial plan to float a $50 billion century bond. Deputy Finance Minister Kweku Kwarteng has also been justifying government's decision to go for a $50 billion bond, stating it is a desire to stop the slow approach towards solving the country's challenges with infrastructure.
Find money to provide the infrastructure with which businesses can operate. And that is what informed the century bonds on the one part. So in summary, it is the desire to stop the piecemeal approach to dealing with our infrastructure deficits. Taking little money here and there and doing bits, starting projects that you cannot complete. They drag for so long and the cost increases. And then you have a perpetual deficit in your infrastructure delivery. It's no more the way to go. So what we're looking to do is to secure big sources of funding to do the big things and to have impact.
So government also announced that the new development bank will be set up. Speaking on the Super Morning Show, Mr. Kweku Kwarteng says customers of the Agricultural Development Bank and the National Investment Bank will not be affected in any way by a decision to merge the two financial institutions or set up a completely new development bank. He also assured customers their deposits are safe, stating any decision will be in the interests of the state.
Depositors and people doing business with ADB and NIB would never be disadvantaged by the decision that government would make. That they can be sure. Because at the very worst, depending on how you look at it, if these banks are taken over by the new bank, the new bank would inherit all the liabilities and assets of the old banks. Nobody should worry at all about what is going to happen. It's purely a government strategy rather than impacting the workings of these banks in any way. And I take this opportunity, is very important to government. I take this opportunity to assure the listening public on behalf of government that we have no plans to do anything to these two banks that would impact adversely depositors or people doing business with these banks. And if you have deposits there, keep them there. If you have money, take them there. They are safe, and government would always protect your interest. The new bank, yes, the decision has been made. We will have to continue to look at the figures we are seeing from these two banks and to make a decision whether they would still stand alone or government will have to absorb them.
You heard the Deputy Finance Minister Kweku Kwarteng. Let's head to Parliament and check whether there is any talk on this issue about the budget that was read yesterday and some other happenings in the House. My colleague Kwesi Parker Wilson joins us on the line. Parker, so what can you report from Parliament, especially regarding the budget?
Well, so MFI, a while ago, the majority leader said Chimensa Bones read the business statement for next week now. He indicated that the budget statement read yesterday is expected to commence on Tuesday, and that will be the debate. So that is when members of Parliament were set to thoroughly examined the budget presented by the finance minister and also indicated that, normally on weekends, the parliament does not sit to debate on issues, but of course they have issues to deal with. And so he said that members of parliament would be coming tomorrow to debate on certain issues that they would have to deal with. So we can listen to him.
Speaker, debate on the financial policy of government of Ghana for the year ending December 31st, 2019 is expected to commence on Tuesday, the 20th of November 2018. The Business Committee is mindful of the need to thoroughly debate the financial policy of government for the year 2019, and in order to afford as many members as possible the opportunity to be involved in the debate, the committee has proposed the following time allotments. Speaker, the chairperson and ranking member of finance who would be moving the motion, who will be seconding the motion and be responding, will be giving 20 minutes for the debates. All honorable members would have 10 minutes. And the minority and majority leaders who are supposed to wind up would have about 30 minutes. Speaker, in accordance with the practice of the House, debate for each day will be restricted to agreed upon subject matter areas of the national economy.
Well, Parker, away from that also, we know that the minority leader, Haruna Idrisu, is still demanding a copy of the Justice Brobe Commission inquiry into the creation of new regions. What more have they been saying about this?
Yeah, of course. MFI, you call that weeks gone by, they held a press conference demanding for the report. And so this morning, he also indicated that, listen, they would want the report so that they can interrogate it. They want to know what were the findings of the Justice Brobe Committee. But surprisingly, the chairman of the Legislation and Subsidiary Committee, that is Mahama Yaga, indicated to the members of the House that he has had the benefit to go through the report, and that the report or the CI is consistent with the Constitution. So for him, he does not see anything wrong with the report. But the minority leader wasn't too happy about the situation and indicated that, well, if he has gone through the report, of course, members of the House should also have the opportunity to go through the report. But the sector minister, that is Dan Boche, again reiterated the point that the president can only submit the report to the House after 6 months. And so we are not yet, we've not gotten to the 6 months yet. So they should wait. When we get there, definitely the president will submit the report to the House.
Kwesi Parker Wilson with happenings on the floor of Parliament. But away from that, the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology has announced new measures to ensure its disturbed academic calendar is corrected. Students are back on campus after a violent protest prompted a shutdown of the university and dissolution of its governing board. The University Relations Officer Kwame Yeboah has been speaking to Love FM's Kwesi Deborah.
The residence committee also meets. The residence committee normally takes charge of the students' accommodation and their welfare on campus. And they went through all the halls to see the preparedness to meet the students, to receive the students. Largely all the halls were ready, except a few of them that had their glasses broken, particularly glasses that house the Porter's Lodge, the hall assistants, which has some plywood as replacement, which is not the best, but they will be fixed. We also had a situation where one hall had bunches of keys taken away. Also, plans are afoot to change those locks. And the academic board met later in the day, and the main item on the agenda was the disturbed, or the academic calendar that was disturbed. It was decided that from Monday, when lectures begin, the outstanding lectures and the mid-semester exams that were supposed to have taken place during the time of the crisis.
You heard that the University Relations Officer Kwame Yeboah. Love FM's Kwesi Deborah joins us on the phone. So, Kwesi, you've been interacting with some students. What exactly have they been saying about these new arrangements?
Some of the students came as early as 7 a.m. Some took the taxi from the official taxi around Kotea University. And, of course, some also came in their private vehicles. And interaction with them, what I got from them is that, for instance, they are saying they've never tasted examination from any of their lecturers, for instance, the first-year students. And this is a case where they are going to write exam in that short period, and they are thinking that it might really affect them because it will be very difficult for them to cope. And also having them, the school closing officially, going on vacation on the 19th of December, they think that, of course, going to affect their Christmas because it's a case where they are supposed to be back in 2 weeks' time and they will not have the mind to enjoy the Christmas. So they are talking about these two things, not tasting the examination and also not having the freedom to also enjoy Christmas.
I will say that things happen and things change. So whatever be the case, we as students will have to sit up and know how to deal with issues. Because what happened, it's not all that I would say we are happy about. So right now, I think that the feeling now is some are happy, some are sad. But for me, I'm neither happy nor sad. I'm just normal. Why? Because sometimes you should just understand the things of life. Like I rightly said in the beginning, things happen and things change. So if life has brought this to us, I think we should accept it in good faith and then see how we can do about it. Not necessarily condemning or complaining, but see what we can do about whatever that has happened.
So today you're in school, are you at school?
Oh sure, I'm excited that by the grace of God we've all come to resolution and being brought back to the school. So I'm happy, I'm cool.
You heard that some students of the KNUST. Now, President Akufo-Addo is demanding neutrality and professionalism from the Ghana Police Service, advising the service against becoming an appendage of any political party. The president said the country is looking forward to a service that operates without fear or favor in the discharge of its mandate. Presidential correspondent Elton Brobe joins us as the president addressed the 48 cadet officers' graduation. So, Elton, what more has the president been saying? How is he expecting this neutrality when the appointing authority is indeed the executive?
Well, I mean, according to him, he as president and indeed his government will ensure that they will not interfere in the administration of the Ghana Police Service. But before you got to the point where he asked them to tie the focus with the political party ruling the government, the nation at the moment, it was quite clear that the Afrobarometer report recently, which quoted responded as saying that the police administration, perhaps one of the most corrupt institutions in the country, he wants the police administration to take steps to redeem their image, because for him, that will be the only way the public can have confidence in the ability of the police to protect them in the event of any, issue. But on government side, they will not interfere, and they are doing more they can to retool the police administration. He mentioned, for instance, the deployment of some vehicles to enhance the mobility of the police administration. And secondly, they are looking at, resourcing their human manpower so that they will have enough personnel for effective policing across the country. But he was more concerned about the image of the police, which appears to, lower the confidence people have in their military to fight their military effectively.
You heard that Elton Brobe, Presidential Affairs Correspondent. You're still listening to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. We'll take a quick break. When we return, do sporting activities make birth and menstruation less painful? We'll hear more on this theory in the latest Joy News documentary as the Africa Women's Cup of Nations kicks off tomorrow.
I think for other sports girls too, it happens to them that way because it makes your system so active and strong.
My name is Kwame Sefakai, and most of you know me as a media personality, but I am also a family man. The UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, saves me so much time by letting me do almost all of my banking transactions on my phone. The cardless withdrawal feature allows me to withdraw cash from any UMB ATM without an ATM card. I can also pay bills, transfer money, request for a loan, invest money, and so much more. So now, I can spend less time at the bank and more time with the ones I love. Bank anywhere and anytime with a UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, and get the time to do what you love most. Download the UMB Speed App from your Android, iOS, or Windows phone today. Call 0302-633-988 for more information. UMB Speed App, Digibank, let's go!
You're welcome back. Thanks for staying with us here on the Midday News. It's time now for sports, and Nathaniel Atto, who has love for sports, is here with the latest.
Yes, MFI. And you know, in less than 24 hours, Ghana will be hosting her first African Women's Championship here. And there's a growing sense that the Black Queens will host and win the competition. Now, the Black Queens will kick off the tournament against Algeria, followed by Mali versus Cameroon in Group A tomorrow at the Accra Stadium. Head coach of the senior national female team, Bashir Hayford, and his technical team interacted with the media about an hour ago at the Accra Stadium, and my colleague Baba Tando was there, and she joins on the line for more. Baba, thanks for your time. Now, what's the coach been saying ahead of the tournament opener tomorrow?
Right, so Coach Bashir Hayford has taken the Black Queens through quite a number of matches ahead of kickoff for tomorrow's outcome. But then he realized that there was one major problem that his team had to work on, and that was their attacking powers. And that was exactly what he came to talk to the media about. The fact that he's been able to sharpen to the best of his ability his team's scoring powers. And he's sure that with that done, any other thing that he considers a problem isn't too major. All those other problems could be overcome when they take on Algeria tomorrow. And of course, he was here with Captain Elizabeth Ado, who also affirmed the team's readiness mentally, physically, spiritually. She added that they are ready for tomorrow's kickoff, and barring any last-minute hit, they are all set to go all guns blazing against Algeria ahead for kickoff of the 2018 Women's AFCON. But Nat, I've quickly moved away from the press conference area because it's over. Cameroon, Mali, and Algeria have all had their turns to meet the press. But I'm actually on the main field of play right now, and I can tell you that, Nat, we are ready to host the rest of Africa for the 2018 Women's AFCON. The seats are all done. Now the only thing that is being worked on is the glass area at the glass fittings at the VIP area. They are only being fitted into the metal frames that have been done. The grass has been leveled, the seats have been cleaned, the entire stadium has been cleaned. And one thing that caught my attention immediately I entered the stadium was the ground, the car park area, and the main entrance to the stadium. They have actually resurfaced the roads, and so there's new asphalt on there, and everything is smooth at the Accra Sports Stadium. I can say for a fact that we are about 99% ready.
All right, Baba, thank you very much. And of course, MFI, just before we go as well, there's live commentary of the game between the Black Stars and Ethiopia away. The Black Stars, remember, are thick within their qualification for the next Men's Africa Cup of Nations in Cameroon next year. Let's just pray and hope that everything goes well. But for now, it's the women. So your classmates, all your church mates, everybody, let's all go to the stadium tomorrow.
We'll all be there. Thank you very much, Nathaniel Atto. Now, passengers at the Hohoi station in the Volta region are stranded as drivers of commercial vehicles have refused to moving in protest of deplorable roads there. The drivers say the untarred roads worsened by potholes destroy their vehicles. A situation, they say, is affecting their business as revenue generated is used to fix the cars. Here's one of the passengers caught up in the confusion.
I'm at Hawaii, and the drivers said they are doing demonstration. Where in the car when they drop us out from the car? I have to go to country and return tomorrow, and by as of now, I'm at Hawaii. There's no any car moving to any direction.
Despite police intervention, the drivers tell Joy News they will not work until their concerns are addressed.
Our roads are very bad. We've been complaining about it for a very long time, but authorities in charge keep failing to fix the roads. We want government to know we are not happy with the situation. That is why we are demonstrating.
We'll definitely go back to Hohoi and check at the very latest there in our subsequent bulletins. But oil marketing company Goil says it has satisfied all safety requirements in setting up a fuel station at Hacho here in Accra. It follows concerns by residents. The station is sited close to their homes and kitchens in particular, heightening fears of explosion or fire outbreak. Here's a resident, Irene Nelson.
It used to be a guest house. And all of a sudden for a guest house to be pulled out to erect a filling station, I don't think it is right. There are houses on the left, right, and behind, and you don't give a hook about it. Just what you want to do is all that you think about. You don't think about the people living around you, and I don't think it is right. And I've been fighting this since 2015, from Town and Country Planning to EPA to NPA, and nothing has been done about it.
But Martin Olu Davis is head Health, Safety, Security, Environment and GOIL, and tells Joy News the company has observed all safety protocols.
Operating in a very safe environment, we take so many risk assessments into consideration before we site our stations. A team from EPA and Fire Service was detailed on Monday to go and then do a technical assessment of the station and then the equipment we have on site. All the technicalities were taken in place in terms of measurements of where the tanks are, where the vent pipes are, and they all fall within safe distances.
You have Martin Olu Davis, head Health, Safety, Security, Environment at GOIL. You're still listening to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. But there's this myth that a lot of people talk about. They say that menstruation for most adolescent girls is daunting and perhaps the most devastating moments in the month. Enduring the excruciating abdominal pain for 4, 5, 6, or even 7 days on the average is the last thing any adolescent girl will wish for. But there's the theory that for those engaged in sports, menstrual pain is nothing to worry about. As the African Women's Cup of Nations 2018 kicks off tomorrow, some girls of the Nimobi Ladies Football Club here in Accra share with Gary Al Smith the health benefits they enjoy from sports.
According to UNICEF, overall, a woman spends approximately 2,100 days menstruating, which is equivalent to almost 6 years of her life. The monthly flow of blood can be discomforting and even painful. But girls who take part in physical activities are usually rewarded by nature in a special way, as Princess and Bilkis attest.
For me personally, when I'm having my menstrual cycle, I don't feel much pains.
When I get my menstruation, it comes quickly and goes quickly, so that I'll be free.
Because I'm always active, I always go for jogging, doing physicals and things. So when I'm in my month, it flows freely. And I think for other sports girls too, it happens to them that way because it makes your system so active and strong. So like the pains is not as compared to those who are not into sports. Like they feel much pains whenever they are in their cycle,
In recent years, keeping fit has become something of a craze among young women in the urban areas, with gym subscriptions going up as the Ghanaian population becomes more health conscious. Some facilities charge up to 500 cedis or about $100 per month. Yet, many of these young women could save a lot of money had they cultivated a habit of physical activity in their formative years.
It's time to get jogging. Take up a sports by all means because you know the health benefits now. And their mutual affection has always been on display. But did you know it wasn't love at first sight for former U.S. First Lady Michelle Obama when she met her husband Barack Obama? I guess you didn't know that. But in her memoir, Becoming, which was launched earlier this weekend, is already a bestseller globally. The former First Lady opened up about how she met the young man who was to become America's 44th president.
His name was Barack Obama. He was from Hawaii. I thought, what? So I didn't really know what to expect. And then in walks Barack Obama. And Barack Obama has always walked like Barack Obama. Like, he's got all the time in the world. He had that stride. I was like, dude, you're cute. But in my mind, I was like,
not interested?
Not off limits, not even not interested. I'm not gonna date. Barack had suggested that we date, but I was like, no, meet my friends, do this, do that. It wouldn't be right, no. And he was like, you're crazy, we should date. I like you, you like me. And he was and I liked that about him. He was very straightforward. He wasn't playing games. When we stopped for ice cream and he got the sense that I was starting to open up. And he played it real smooth. He just leaned in for a kiss. And that really was it. From that kiss on, it was love, and he was my man.
And that's former U.S. First Lady Michelle Obama. Get a copy of Becoming. You'd love it. And let's check out what's trending on social media. Maps is a Friday. What are people talking about?
All right. Top 3 trends. Croatia, hashtag Joy SMS. And the third one is hashtag Friday Feeling. Let's see what people are saying about Friday Feeling. This one is from @8times, who says, you get to choose how your day goes. Hashtag Friday Feeling. And @Mzu2013 says, my to-do list for today: count my blessings, practice kindness, let go of what I can't control, and listen to my heart. Hashtag Friday Feeling.
Friday Feeling indeed. And that's it for the midday news here on Joy 99.7 FM. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. And we have some good news just before we go. The Deputy Communications Minister, George Anda, he was involved in an accident. He has finally been discharged from the hospital. Wish you a very speedy recovery, Mr. George Anda. I am Emefa Apau. Have a good afternoon.
That's the sound of my